Hello again, this is Eric with Auburn AV. You can check us out at auburnav.com to learn more about us and what we do. This is our next video in the series for Clarity, and this is going to talk about the VX wings. Clarity has two wings that you can buy for the PC version, and it gives you some faders and action buttons to use for our for programming and also for play. This is the VX10. It's the smaller one. It has 10 faders, and then it's got a few functions here for some programming. You got a master fader and a blackout button. You can do pages. It only allows you to page all 10 of these at one time. And it does have a USB dongle on top where you can plug in your jump drive and load your files onto the computer that way. And then this is the VX20, and I have access to one of these through Auburn AV. It does let you do pages of 10 cues. The bottom 5 cues are for your faders here, and the top 5 cues on this window are for your go buttons up here. So these were without faders. You'd press this button to make it go, this button to pause. That toggles it on and off the cue that you have in here. And then say for this cue example right here, if you hit play, the button below it goes through the cues in order. And if you hit that button, it makes the cue cut off, and it's got a little fade out on that one set. And then also on your fader ones here, so we have the fader set for this cue, which is a 6 par intensity up, and if you go up on it, it turns up the intensity on our 6 pars, which we can see in our rig view there. The way that you add cues into here is we have these cues set here, this red wash. You just take it and drag it into it, and then you can hit that play button, and now it activates that cue off and on. Pretty simple. You just have to go up here under the control booth window and go to hardware and click on that and pick the wing that you have. The wings aren't up there because if you have a wing plugged in, it'll populate up there, but right now I have 2 virtual wings on here, and you go to the manage and we have the virtual wings. You can add the virtual wings in there. So I have both types so you can see them. This one here has these 10 windows on a page set on this side, this 10 windows on a page set on the left side. It also has the that main button there where you can black out, and also grandmaster fader. You also have this programming section here on the VX20. It's got the same buttons that are lined up here, which has your function, select, release, edit, record buttons. So you can hit that button instead of having to climb up here. So this does help you with your programming, make it a little bit faster. So you got a trackball here. You can get to highlight. It's the same highlight function as it is in Programmer here. Highlight, and then you can use the previous and next buttons to scroll through your highlights. You can select all, select none. You can go through blind. You hit that button and you're programming in blind where it's not changing what's on stage. You've got your clear all and release all button, and then here you've got your intensity, position, color, and beam. These 4 buttons, if you select position and use the scroll ball to move it around, then that will move your faders around on the stage. This button here can make it where this moves your mouse cursor or it moves the fixture. And then you also have a fine movement, so if you hold that down and move your ball, it'll do a finer movement. You can hold that button down to do fan, and you can hold that button down there for ortho. And also, if you have this section on, then this will be your left click and your right click for your mouse. And you can page up and down. You got several pages. So you have lots of options in here. There's also something else I want to show you. So say, for instance, say you want to be able to get to these 4 intensities no matter what page you're on. If you right click on it and you set to lock this playback, then what is going to happen is if I page up, that stays. It locks it into that spot. So you may want to have submasters or something like this set here and locked in position, so you always have access to them no matter where you are in the pages, so that way you don't have to click back and forth to go find it again. Another thing is we have this thruster here, which I talked a little bit about in an earlier video, where you can set your effects rate and amplitude rate for effects. You can have it go, you can affect them. You can make you faster, slower on the fly. So while you're sitting here running things, you can speed up the effects chases and you can slow them down. You can also change the amplitude, and that comes in really handy if you're doing something like a show for a band or something like that. Then you can have several looks in here planned, and then use those thrusters to change your looks on the fly without having to reprogram anything. It's really neat how that can affect stuff, which I can show you. Let's see. I'll go into programmer here. We can get rid of this. We'll leave this one up. Oh, actually, we'll pull this back up here in a second. I'm just going to show you how it works, and then we'll pull it up, and I can show you how to set one of those on your console. So we're going to select all, and we'll go under here under palettes, and we'll just pick we'll pick a chase, and we'll have it all turned on full, and we'll put them all on a light blue. Let's see what's going on here. So those are chasing pretty fast. Here, we'll try that again. Every 200, full on. We'll do the alternate too. It's a little easier to alternate too. And a light blue, so that'll be a little easier to stomach. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to pull our thrusters up. And if you change, you can go up on the amplitude, and that affects that. That's the rate, actually, sorry. I'm slowing it down. Now the amplitude. Make it more of a shut off and on, or you can make it more subtle. You can change these things on the fly. You can change motions on the fly. Anything that's under the dynamics, you can affect that way. You also have the ability to do your built-in chases and play rates for chases that you have built in follows. Anyway, that's how that works. It's pretty neat for changing your looks on the fly, and you can throw the same set of looks or cues up and change the amplitude and the rate, and it looks like a completely different look. So what we do, we go back to control booth over here. We're going to go to hardware. I'm going to open the VX20, and then we're going to take this here. So you can take this scroll wheel here off, or not off of there, but you can add it to a fader. So we can right click here, and it says global thruster. You put effects rate right there. You can also do it the same thing, global thruster and amplitude. You just have both those on there, and now your fader can affect those. The only thing when you add them in there, you do have to go to here, and you have to go under here under this little wrench with settings. You change those to slider mode, and now they look like a slider, and now you can move them with your slider. Pretty neat. Anyway, that's how the VX Wing works. It's pretty simple to use. If you can get a hold of one, that really helps with your abilities to get to things that you want to get to, and it helps speed up your programming. It's a very nice addition to your Clarity PC. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Again, my name's Eric with Auburn AV. Thanks you for watching, and we'll see you next time.